kills the Kitsune. Kitsune's so nuts.
He's better. All you need vortex respawn.
Oh, Nash.
Big for 3 months. I got Tracer now.
A little bit of trouble with ults because I think they had trance. Dragon.
They do. They use Dragon.
Dead for it, I think.
Tracer going top, maybe? Did I hit the first one? I'm not sure. That's tough. Oh, wait, was I not full HP when I went up, by the way? Yeah, fucking Tracer does so much damage.
I'm in the car right here.
At least I killed the Sojourn, so at least I traded. That's all I need. I think she might pulse me as I come back. She's Tracer no recall.
This is over by me.
Thought he's gonna go psycho mode on me. The Tracer played so scared of me right there. It's crazy. She's like, no, I'm not pushing this guy. I'm just gonna AFK. She even double blinked in, shot half a clip, and then instantly recalled without me even shooting her. She was that scared. Fuck, dude. There's just nothing I can do when Tracer gets on me like that.
Testing.
And she killed 2.
Oh, you're right there.
Testing. Oh, well, we'll see what happens. Alright, anyway, first stream for the year. Been out for about 24 days since my last workout stream, but I have been keeping up with it here and there.
She's top.
Pretty much been... Oh, the cat wants out, so
I thought I just hit them. How is it
anyway,
walking through all my shots?
my flu's over.
What is
Let's get started. My usual basic Mondays, so it'll just be push-ups, Russian twists because I missed out on last week, and probably squats or lunges, and then finally calf raises for my tibialis and tibialis anterior and my calves. As it says, my goal for this, like, man, last year was my first time streaming for the whole entire year. I guess a bit of a recap then. Yeah, man, hit a lot of my fitness goals. I don't know. Definition-wise, my muscles are there now. I've got abs. Like, they're not as like shredded as what you'd see on most influencers and whatnot, or people online. But you know, for me, just your everyday person, just it's one of those things. Like, aesthetics has been one of my major goals since working out since I was 12, I think. You know, you always have that dream of like getting cut abs and everything and all that. Never think you could be one of those people that actually achieve it.
Right. You haven't played on this account, and
I'll admit, my grind of 20 years of training, like, that's the journey for me. It's ups and downs and whatnot. But the main thing I've learned is if you just keep consistent at it, you'll get there eventually. So it just depends on your goals and how fast you want to get there.
Hey, who's he talking to?
Got there. That's why when I got the flu, I inadvertently, somehow, the timing, just, if there's a silver lining in the flu, and when I got it, is essentially, that was my cut diet. When I had the flu, I sweat for like 4 days, had body aches, couldn't move, ate congee for 4 days, ended up losing 4 kilos. And that 4 kilos for me, I struggle to put on weight. I've got the issue at the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm trying to gain muscle. I don't want to try to get cut definition just from losing fat and weight and whatnot. I want to actually build the muscle.
World Cup?
That's been good.
World Cup's gonna
After
be
losing all that weight
for pro players.
and trying to put it back on incrementally again, like, after being sick with the flu.
Mercy pocket, so joy.
Yeah, I just filled in pretty well. It was good. It worked out in a way, essentially. Past few weeks have been working out 3 times per week, doing what I can. I eased myself back into it. I guess that's another silver lining. When afterwards I get sick, you don't ever want to jump straight back into what you were doing beforehand. You want to sort of ease your way into the workout, see how your body feels. Doesn't matter how far back you got to go, just ease your way into it. No point in trying to prolong your sickness, or you're a lot more prone to being injured as well after an event like that. So, you know, take it easy. No point in risking yourself. What else is there to say? Well, I guess my mum got this. Not my mum. Jesus. My wife got this Christmas present, and essentially it's inside. It's within the one of the things you can, I guess, use your points on if you want to. But it's got all these like little exercise challenges on there, and you know, I think that'll be fun. I thought about maybe just doing the workout purely on this dice today, but you know, I'm not feeling like it. I'm just gonna do my usual workout, maybe in a future stream or something like that. But that's there. Even though it's my mum, so I'm sorry. I gotta stop saying that. There must be something shooting in my mind. Even though it's my missus. Hopefully it gets her to work out more. She's got the New Year's reso as well, where she's trying to get back into training and everything and all that. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling on now. I want to get started soon.
Here comes the soldier and all.
Yeah. I don't know. Last year, I guess the recap is essentially, yeah.
They saw me.
I used this platform as a way of like not just helping others, but also developing myself. It kept me accountable for all my workouts. According to my streams, I've done about 124 workout sessions last year, stream-wise. Off-stream itself, there were some that I just didn't include. Because, you know, there are days where I just want to get straight into work. I don't want to set up the stream and everything like that. So it's a good way to keep accountable as well.
I think he actually went for it.
So, you know, whatever keeps you consistent, whatever works.
Holy shit, nice, dude.
And yeah, it definitely works. It definitely helps. And it's a good diary for me personally as well. I can look back to all these old videos and just see my training, see how I developed and everything and all that. Yeah, you know, it's just a tool. You know, use whatever you can. In the end, if it motivates you to work out, that's all that matters in the end. Use a program, have friends, go to the gym, work out and whatnot. I've always told my mates and everyone, my goal of this channel is just to show people that you don't need to, like, besides this a space, you know, you don't need. Health shouldn't be expensive. Keeping yourself healthy shouldn't be expensive. You know. Anyway, everyone's different. Everyone's motivated differently. 90% of people prefer to be in the gym, and there's nothing wrong with that. I got nothing against gyms. If it gets you to work out, that's the main thing. So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling on now. Let's get started.
Dude, the Junkrat jumped out on pie ground because I peeked the
I've got
3 times.
Seagull in the background playing his Overwatch 2. Love the guy. Does pretty good first-person shooter content. Got some DMCAs. I've learnt that never ever stream Joe Rogan stuff. His stuff always pops up and gets me into trouble. Finally got my first strike on YouTube. That's okay. I'm experimenting. Music-wise, doesn't seem too bad. It just seems. I think it's Joe Rogan's mainly. It's his stuff that gets flagged and everything. So we'll see what else happens anyway.
Oh really?
Let's get started.
That's why I was like, no. I was like, you're gonna carry. He's like, oh god, please. Well, he kind of bumped.
Alright. Progress for the year. I'm on.
I don't know who the CPU guy was, but he one clipped me like 3 times.
Oh, that's it. My photo on my other socials. It's like it's purely. I'll admit it's vanity. I purely did it just for my own egotistical reasons. But the reason is also because I don't actually have any proper progress photos, me without a shirt on or anything like that. So I'd feel it'd be a waste if I worked out this hard and have nothing to show for it, like nothing to prove that I actually got this far. So that's my plan at the end of every year. I just take one photo without a shirt on and all that, just to see my progress, but also just to feed my mind
Oh, maybe.
and my ego. But, you know, ego can be a good thing if you know how to direct in the right, towards the right place. Oh shit, already.
Cricket 67 months.
Mando 8472, thanks for the follow. I'm about to start working out. I hope that's from the Mandalorian, but if not, it's an awesome name regardless. How are you going? Do you train? Do you do anything yourself? Let me give you advice if I can. If not, just chill.
This month for sure, because December season 3 starts 9 weeks after December 6th. It'd be like early Feb or whatever. So right now I'm still finding fun playing out and like trying to like going down the list of characters I haven't played. But when that dries up, I'm gonna get bored. And I'll probably just start doing half Overwatch streams at that point.
Squats with resistance bands purely just so I can focus a bit more on like loops as well.
Hog changes down. I don't know if it changes that much though, because Hog isn't even super meta. It's actually Orisa I see more often than Hog. Hog's just more annoying. Pseudo 30 for 21 months. Any upcoming games are said there's tons, but I mean I'm really interested in Diablo 4. I don't know if I have like the schedule right now for all the games that's coming out right now though. Like what games come out in the next few months? It would be, I'm trying to think. Honestly, my brain's so into Overwatch that I haven't been paying attention. I don't remember anymore. I can probably go find some stuff online for stuff that's releasing though.
I'm still going a bit easy on myself, but
So what did you do for the years?
I found what I've been doing lately is
Oh, I didn't. I just didn't play.
I at least get through my sets until I get to the last set. Once I get to the last set,
Oh yeah, the Sojourn.
that's when I start really pushing it. So it's like, try to at least finish my bare minimum, and then once I get that done, then smash it out.
Sojourn Mercy is flying into our spawn, killing everyone. I was in
Probably better ways, but that's just what mood I'm in at the moment.
Oh, she already used ult in 40 seconds. Let's go.
What these elastic bands are for, it allows me to keep count of what set I'm up to. Because many times I question what set I'm up to. And I'm a masochist, so if I can't remember, I just add another set on top. That's my reward for forgetting what set I'm on. Hence the elastic bands. Why did my stream become all potato?
Almost got immediately killed.
How are those not hitting her? I'm dead.
Someone's alive again.
I'm dead. Let's go speed boost. Orisa's weak. Really weak. What about the top maybe?
Is there space I could?
I don't even think I peaked all the way. What the fuck? Nah, my screen. Crazy. When's the last time you got flamed? You get flamed like once a day. That depends on what I'm playing.
The shit.
Dragoning off top. Oh, well, we're fucked. offbeat after he died. And they gotta fly into a kill saw in 2 seconds. Here it comes. I don't think he's gonna stop pushing. I wouldn't. Let's see. Oh, he backed up. Coward.
In the trap, in the trap, in the trap, in the trap. Nice.
The Junker Queen on their back line.
We're gonna try to res.
The Junker Queen chasing me in Mega Room. There's no escape for me.
Oh no.
Sniper, don't get shot.
I'm dead.
They have the infamous double sniper on a double sniper map called Dorado. Push it. She died top. She's gonna go for Riz right now. She's trying to get up top. She fucked it up 3 times. There she goes. That's tough.
Okay, Sojourn's still alive somehow.
Widow's half in the back. That Hanzo shot dot to dot, dude.
What over here?
Just get some cap time while we get the tires going. They're gonna all-in cart now.
Junker Queen's won, she's won!
Oh.
Dragon.
Woo. This is getting scary. This is getting scary. It's always hard to tell when it's in the actual door. They went Genji. That was a disgusting flick, by the way, chat.
Being lazy with my workouts.
I'm trying to go now. Kill Junker Queen next. Junker Queen's one. Got it. That's a no-red. Cool. You should have died by now.
Oh!
Oh, dude. Feeling good on the Hanzo lately. No recoil really does the gaming some good. Dude, it's really nice now for the hotfix. Like, being able to actually see your targets is... What a concept, right? Psycho. Did you get Cyberpunk, Hanzo? I haven't bought any shop skins yet. I only bought a shop emote.
I mean, if they're playing
Hey,
something
VK.
on,
Been a while.
it's
How have you
easy
been?
to try to kill
Happy New Year and Merry Christmas and all the seasonal
We're gonna
greetings.
have to go back hog or Winston.
Watching on YouTube as well. I don't get too many viewers on YouTube. I purely do it just so that my recordings on Twitch go
The
straight to
Genji with the hoodie
YouTube.
skin was fire.
Saves me from
Genji
downloading,
with the hoodie
exporting,
skin
and
was
whatnot.
Sojourn, rest in pocket.
But good to see you. How's everything?
Eight, 9 with 9,000 damage.
I've actually been hard steamrolling her right now. I've been hitting some ridiculous shots on them. But
When I went hog, I
it's
killed
gonna be
him.
tough soon. Alright,
Nice.
he's just
You on
getting off.
holiday?
He's like, nah, I'm going Echo now. Echo. Widow Echo with a
Pretty good.
fucking Junker Queen, a Mercy. There's nothing for me to hit. This is a huge pain in the ass. I guess we'll have to kill the Echo Mercy then. Echo's looking a little bit weird.
I'm gonna play main here. I don't want him to come throwing us.
I was so far around that corner, it's actually unbelievable.
Man, Queen's already half HP.
Ah, all good. Back in school, I'm back at it. Good luck to you. Most kids in Australia at the moment, they're still on holiday.
Widow's trying to, like, spawn
They probably won't be
She's
back at
only
school
looking for- This is psycho.
until at the end of this month.
What the fuck?
And universities like probably won't be till end of
Someone
February
pick
or something
Widow
like
right
that.
now. I think she's still looking for him.
See her, I don't see her.
This is my last work week as well. Sorry, my last break from work as well. Sorry for her. My last week off from work as well.
I'm
So
not good versus new
I'll start back
characters.
up work next week.
I haven't played Hanzo since Echo came out. It's been 4 years. I just don't know her animations. Fuck. That should be a free kills. Now they're learning, dude.
Oh, I'm so dead. Junk, it's up to you. Good luck.
I can't hard carry this versus the Echo. That's for sure. I have to get used to her animations. It's gonna take at least a few games. Her head's so weird because she's always like bleeding. Mercy's still floating behind. Half Mercy. Nice.
Holy shit. You get out there, buddy?
It's only been 4 years streamer. Well, the problem is I didn't play Overwatch for years, right? And so I never played Hanzo v Echo. By the time Echo came out, dude, she came out March 2020. Dude, by then I wasn't playing Overwatch. I didn't play Overwatch for the next like year and a half.
I'm here too.
Obviously, I know how to play against her and like what she does, but I when it comes to niche things like gotta practice animations, no. Mercy half. Mercy down. I think we go for Orisa. Nice.
How go your drawings, by the way, VK?
Here, go one.
I saw
Excuse me, Chiro,
see
is
some of your
actually
work when it comes up on my
Oh,
stories.
sorry,
It's really
sorry.
good stuff.
Yeah.
I can't. The creative side of things is more on my missus side. She's a graphic designer,
Back away here.
so she does. Yeah, she's definitely the creative one between us two.
April 2020 is when I moved
My
to
stick
this
figures
place.
are on point,
I
though.
was not playing any Overwatch for that time frame.
And even then, that's saying something.
Echo's half. Damn, nice Suzu. That was so close on the Suzu on me. They're gonna go res her in window. They're gonna try. So Echo's all in.
Echo.
Nice. The Mercy went back for the res as Echo went all in. And the Echo tried to micro her back, so they lost the res timing too. And they lost Echo, so they got worse of both. We're good. They still have a res though for a tank, and we lost Tire. This guy's only looking for me right now in the back line. I fucking swear, so annoying. Alright, let's go. Rip them to pieces. What, they C9?
And they're all chasing me.
I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you did it.
Nice.
GG's.
That was a game. Dude, I popped up the first half, and then I realized I have never really played a ton of Hanzo and Echo, so I just could not hit her. Like, it was really bad.
You've been farming these.
I had a lot of good games. Sojourn Abuser blames me. Cool. I wonder if they're just flaming everyone. I think they flamed their tanks both times now. Oh my god. Like, that's a duo, I think. Also, that's my last one. I'm gonna call it there.
Eternal, thanks for the follow.
So I think they're
Much
saying
appreciated.
jokingly avoid for
Do you
free
train? Do you
stars,
work out? What are your
like, oh, yeah,
hobbies?
we wanna
Let me
play
know.
those again.
What do you do for work?
Yeah, that makes
Let me
more
give you
sense.
some
I think that's pretty sure because they're hard
advice that you
swapping
didn't
and countering
even
with
ask for.
accounts, I don't know what they're doing.
True, good point. Alrighty. Good games.
GG's. My Hanzo win rate did increase though. I went from like a 45 and now I'm a 54. So it's pretty good for a day.
Yeah, not too bad. See you later.
Peace. All right, chatters. I'm out of here.
Damn it! Don't leave me, Seagull.
Thanks for watching.
I need some entertainment that I can put in the background.
Listen to me nerd rage and nerd rant about a variety of things while I play a singular game for no apparent reason. Please feel free to follow. Eclipse, thank you for the prime. Thank you for all the TTS donos earlier. Advice Guru, Fantasmic, Berkey, thank you for all the subs. Star Sword Zero, thank you for the prime. Plug BC Goal. Oh yeah, the regular YouTube content is on BC Goal, which is all in the description now, actually, so you can see. But I'll see you guys later. Bye, Chad. I'm gonna eat some food. Wait, who's still on? Oh, man, I need to host something. I didn't think about it.
Alright, I gotta find someone different now.
That's how Splat says when you log off. I don't know how long he's staying on or if he is, but I'll host him. Be back later.
Let's see.
Peace.
Hey, good work, VK. That's wonderful news. When did you get started? Let's see. Let's give you guys an insight to my YouTube and the things that I watch. Let's see. Andrew Huberman. Been listening to this guy and learning about meditation. I've already learnt about it, but you know, there's better experts out there that know much more than I do. It's always better to learn of someone that knows more than you. Alright. 3:54, okay. Again, I'll probably get another strike from YouTube from this, but that's alright.
The pain
Let's go.
was born of the resistance to feeling it. You're kind of bracing it. And what meditation does, and psychedelics to some degree does this, but meditation very directly does this, it reverses the causality and
Yeah,
lets
good work,
you
VK, good work. I'm glad you're getting into it, I'm glad.
Change state such that
It's
you
a
can
journey,
be
remember that,
fulfilled
it's a journey.
before anything happens.
Learn
You're happy.
Learn to enjoy the journey, because the road is much longer than the destination. You're going to be spending much more time working at it than getting to those goals. You will get there, but if you get what I'm saying, I'm doing chest and arms, perfect place to start. Those are your vanity muscles that you want to sort of like, that's the first thing most people are going to see depending on their goals, but in general, that tends to be the first thing people see, but it's a good place to start, so good stuff. You're doing body weights or weights? What are you doing?
Happiness is no longer predicated on the next good thing happening. You can be in the presence of the next good or bad thing already being fulfilled and already being at peace. You know, I mean, there's a.
Yeah, right now, push-ups, chest and arms, simple,
I think they're
easy.
misleading nouns. We can throw it at what is left there, but it is tranquility, peace, freedom, lack of contraction, lack of conflict. I mean, like all of that can be more and more of a default, and all of that is also compatible with deciding, why not get in shape? Why not engage this project? Why not, change your career? I mean, it's not that you need to be somebody who accept. I mean, to your point, you can notice all of these non-optimal things because no matter how much you meditate, you're very likely going to spend a lot of your time still lost in thought, still identified with it, and still caring about the difference between dysfunction and normativity in your life, right? And it's just the question is, what can you locate when?
So yeah, good place to start.
It's really
place
it's
to
like
start.
how much can you puncture that seeking
In the
happiness
end, it's whatever gets you to
project
do consistently.
with the recognition.
My recommendation is
that you're
always going to be
already
make sure to
free.
do a whole body routine, but
that's what meditation makes possible.
any
You can
exercise is
keep
good
just
exercise when you're first starting off.
1,000 times a day.
So good job for
letting
starting.
some daylight
And as
into
always,
this
you've been
search
with me since the
space.
beginning, so
And so
any
it-
advice you
but
want,
it is
please
still
don't hesitate to
compatible.
ask.
Like you can,
Happy to
working
answer.
out is a great frame in which to look at this because in working out, when you really work out, I'm thinking mostly of, it's anything, but it's resistance training or cardio or something like jujitsu. You're intentionally putting yourself in classically
If
unpleasant.
you're listening now, this part's sort of good when it comes to training, by the way.
So if you were, if you imagine what it's like to do anything to failure, right? Well, if you just check in on what that is like at the level of sensation, I mean, that is basically it feels like a medical emergency, right? Like if you were having that experience for some other reason, like if you woke up in the middle of the night and felt what it feels like to be deadlifting, on your 10th rep on a set where you're gonna, you would fail at 11, right? Like that is just, that's an emergency. But because you understand what you're doing in the gym and you've sought it out, and like it's actually something you like doing, right? And you can get a real dopamine, hit from doing it. That what you're doing when you're doing that is you're owning a kind of you're actually transforming a classically negative experience into something that's almost intrinsically positive, right? Certainly the net on it is positive. You can do that, and being able to do that is more and more the experience of being actually at peace, even while exerting really intense effort in one direction. So you can be straining, and I'm sure physiologically showing a lot of stress. I mean, I'm sure that cortisol is up, and blood pressure's up, heart rate is certainly up. So it's as far as the body's concerned, is stress as far as the eye can see. But you really can be deeply equanimous and at peace because of the frame around it, because of the concepts attached to it, because you know what you're doing, you know why it's happening, and you want it. So that's an attitude you can bring into other stressful things that take effort to accomplish. And so it's not that you just need to be a pushover when you learn how to meditate or when you take MDMA or you work on yourself in any of these ways. But what I think you want to find is you want to find your point of rest in the midst of any struggle.
I would say that certainly MDMA, but again, I have less experience with meditation, but they really, I think, put us ultimately in positions of what can only refer to as real strength. Is can make what before seemed like impossible decisions or even concepts or
VK, if you want to see how I looked,
think about
maybe
for any period of time,
in 2008, I think,
deliberately distracting
I'll
or
put a photo
avoiding
up.
in some other way, and
I was
be able
hoping
to
to find
lead
me
into those with
looking
open
what I
eyes.
looked like in
And I
high
think
school.
That's
But
to me, that's my
this is
definition.
about a year
of
after
strength.
high
I don't
school,
know what
actually.
other people consider, but
It's a very old
there's
photo
definitely
too, so
something real there.
apologies
in
for the
each case.
jankiness. It's on my Twitch channel if
This
you
may
go to
seem
my
like
about.
a divergence, but I and many other people are very curious about a recent
It's the
decision
only
that you
photo I
made,
could
which
find
was
off my
to
old Facebook.
close your account on Twitter.
But it's just another
You
thing I
still
want to
have
show
an Instagram
people
account.
because
I
okay,
noticed.
Yeah.
But
Although my team managed.
what inspired me to work out as well was one of my mates. His name's Sam. Top bloke, exercises, gyms, much harder than I do, and he's doing the hardest thing in life at the moment, which is raising a child. So bless him. But yeah, he's one of my big motivators for working out because when I was training, whatever. All good. Let me know when you're back. I'll tell you the rest of the story then. But essentially, yeah, this is one of the guys that inspired me to train and work out. He showed me the possibilities. Where was I?
Is that I've never.
it's a lot friendlier over at Instagram.
Yeah.
I've been there a lot
I've
longer.
never even seen it. So.
Oh,
yeah.
it's pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Considering, imagine what would happen if you did
Right.
page it.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job with it. But your decision to close your account on Twitter, I think, grabbed a lot of eyes and ears, and there's a lot of questions about why. It was a very large account. It correlated with a number of things that, for the outsider, people might be wondering about. New leadership, new people who had been booted off, brought back on, or at least invited back on,
Right.
and so on. You are certainly not obligated to explain your behavior to me
Cheers,
or
VK.
anybody else, for that matter. But I'm curious if you might share with us what
Assuming you've seen the
motivation
photo,
was,
but essentially,
for taking the account.
like I said, a friend of mine, deep into bodybuilding, top bloke. Proper bazookas for arms.
But anyway, I remember many years ago when I first met him. He was big. I was still scrawny. I was still early into my training, and essentially, he showed me a photo of himself when he was in high school, and he essentially looked like me, my size, skinniest bloke ever. And it showed me what the possibilities were. I saw that he was this small, scrawny, tall, lanky Asian kid like me, and he was able to transform himself into the person he is today. So, I don't know, it's a mindset that you need to switch, that I needed to switch, where it's like, oh. So I remember the thought process. I was like, oh, if he can do it when he looked like that, then I can do it. So I think that was helpful. That was helpful for me. So hopefully by putting what I looked like before up there, hopefully it will help others. That's all. Yeah. Long story short, yeah. You find motivation in many places where you don't expect it.
Out, down, and how you feel in the absence of I mean, your thumbs presumably are freed up to do other things.
I was getting like an arthritic right thumb,
Sure,
I think, and I think
But if you don't mind sharing, I think there's a lot of curiosity about you and your routines. You've been very generous in sharing that, your knowledge, but also kind of like what makes you tick, what motivates. Pretty big decisions like that. It wasn't a major platform for you.
Cheers, Sleepy.
Right. Yeah.
So,
It was
thanks.
the only social media platform I've ever engaged. I mean, like you said, I have an Instagram, I have a Facebook account, but I never use those as platforms, right?
My missus just got this
follow people, and I've
for
never.
a Christmas
all
present
the
yesterday.
postings just come from.
It's got like multiple different exercises. It's meant to be for her to motivate her to work out and whatnot. But I
Twitter
figured I
was
might as
me.
well use it anyway. I'll probably get more
for
use
better
out of
or
it than she
worse,
does.
And I began to feel more and more for worse, and it was interesting because it was very, I've talked about
Cheers,
it a lot on
Sleepy.
my
Thanks for the
podcast
20
about
burpees.
My love-hate relationship with Twitter over the years. Many good things came to me from Twitter, and I was following a lot of smart people, and it had become my news feed and my first point of contact.
Right when I finished all these push-ups.
Information each day, and I was really attached to it just for that
You're a
reason.
master
just as a
of timing.
consumer of content. And then it was also a place where I genuinely wanted to communicate with people and react to things, and I would see some article that I thought was great, and I would signal boost it, to my the people following me on Twitter, and that was rewarding. And I literally helped people on Twitter. Like, I mean, there were people who I've raised lots of money for on Twitter just by signal boosting their GoFundMe's, and so I was engaged in a way that seemed productive.
I think that's a 5.
But I was always worried that it was
My arms are burnt.
producing needless conflict for me, and was giving me a signal in my life that I was being lured into responding to and taken seriously, that was out of proportion to its representation of any opinion or set of opinions that I should be taken seriously. So I was noticing that and again, this evolved over years, and this long before.
That's 10.
Long
Another 10 later.
predated recent
Emperor
changes
Chad in the house.
Twitter.
How are you, buddy?
But I was noticing that many of the worst things that had happened for me professionally were first born on Twitter. I mean, just like some.
Oh, cheers. Hey, look, you know what it is, Emperor. I just did about 140 push-ups, squats. Now one of my viewers is making me do 20 burpees, so, I've got the full pump going on. Hey, thanks for the compliment. Thank you very much. You've been doing great as well, by the way. See some of your strongman stuff. Keep up the work. Be that Emperor Chad that you've marked yourself with. And anytime you want any advice, don't be afraid to ask me, man. I'm here to help. After that injury you got a year or so ago, I was worried. And I'll be honest, I'm still worried about you. So, build up slowly, man. Unless you're competing, I always say it, fine. Take the risks. But if you're not, man, it's all about longevity. You know it. My friends told me to work out for just 3 months, and after that, if I wanted, I can quit. So So I'm actually doing a kind of challenge. Good work, VK. Good work. A lot of people jump onto those monthly challenges and whatnot, and hey, if it gets you started, that's all that matters. I always say it's just all part of your fitness journey. You'll figure it out, and I hope that it keeps you going as well. You know, hope it keeps pushing you to keep working out and whatnot. Oh man, my chat screen's just like it's taken over. Get over here. You know, but try to stick to it. It's a rewarding journey to invest back into yourself, because who's more worth it than yourself? Cheers, man. Bit slow at the moment, but moving's powerlifting now from the injury. But no squats, no weights on the shoulder, so yeah, just push pull now. Perfect, Brad. I love it, man. We do what we can. We work around our injuries. Keep pushing forward. Journey never stops. It just never restarts. It just continues. Alright, let's get back to those 10 remaining burpees for Sleepy.
Some conflict.
What have
I
you been
got
up to
into with
anyway,
somebody,
Brad?
or something that I felt like I needed to podcast about in response to on Twitter. It's just so much of it. It's either its genesis was Twitter, or it's the further spin of it that became truly unpleasant and dysfunctional happened on Twitter. Like, it was just, Twitter was part of the story when it got really bad, and I've had, you know, vacations that have gone sideways just because I got on Twitter and said something, and then I had to produce a controversy that I had to respond to, and then I had to do a podcast about that, and it was just, okay, this is a mess, right? And so at that point, you know, I have friends who, you know, also had big Twitter platforms who would say, you know, why are you responding to anything on Twitter? Just tweet and ghost. You know, just like Joe Rogan sat me down and tried to get you know, give me a talking to, as did Bill Maher.
Cheers,
Both
Sleepy.
of them engage Twitter in that way.
20
I think
burpees.
they basically never look at their at mentions. They never see what's coming
Right
back.
when I
at them.
finished
They just,
my
you know, they use it effectively
squat
the way I use, or don't even
and
use Instagram or Facebook. I mean, I don't even
push-up
see what's
sets.
going out there.
Very
in
good
my
timing.
and so
I don't think that was an
could
accident.
essentially do that for myself.
Feels
on
purposeful.
Twitter, presumably. And I did that for some periods of time, but then I would continually decide.
Oh,
okay,
thank you.
it's all balancing.
Thank
maybe
you.
I can just communicate here, because it was very tempting for me to communicate with people, because I would see somebody clearly
Alright,
misunderstanding
second half.
something I had said on my
Russian
podcast.
twists
And
and
I think, like,
calf raises.
why not clarify this
And
misunderstanding?
tibialis raises.
And my efforts to do that almost invariably produced a sometimes it was a kind of meandering process of discovery, but often it was just kind of
Cheers,
a
VK.
stark confrontation with
But
what
anyway,
appeared to me
VK,
to be just
with that 3-month thing,
lunacy.
do what
and
works for you.
malevolence on a scale that I
a big
never
mistake that people do is like they
encountered
jump in
elsewhere
too
my
hard,
life.
too
Like, I
quick,
never
too
meet
soon.
these people in life.
Whatever keeps you consistent, that's key.
And yet, I was meeting these people by the tens of thousands on Twitter, and so the thing that began to worry me about it. And again, I understand that
Sweet
people
as,
have
Brad, sweet as, you know.
the opposite experience on Twitter. I mean, depending on what you're putting out,
The
and what
jealousy
you're-
I have
the kinds of topics you're
when
touching,
bigger people
you could have
are
just
able to
nothing
lose
but
weight
love
and cut down to that
coming
weight that they
back
want to be
and
is,
forth, right?
you guys got
But
calves, man.
Because
You
I'm
guys got
very,
calves
essentially
that
in
I'll
the center
never
of
be
Twitter,
able to achieve.
this is
Everything
now on
else
the
I can work
podcast,
out, but,
in
you
the
know, no
working
matter how
out.
much I do these,
I'm often
this ain't gonna do anything.
criticizing the far left,
I'll get the strength, but I'll never get the
criticizing
size in my calves, you know.
far right. I'm basically pissing
something I'm
off
thoroughly
everyone
jealous
some
of,
of the
so
time, right? So, and it's very
100
different.
kilos
If
is a
you're
good-
only
is a good
criticizing
measure.
the left,
And you know,
you hate,
you'll be
you
great
know
on your
that you hate
joints,
from the
your
left.
body will love you more
You
for
have
it.
all the people on the
Your body
right
has already had to deal with all that weight.
reflexively and
So once you take it all
tribally
away,
are
you're gonna be
expressing
light as a feather.
solidarity for you, right? And who are dunking
That's
on
it.
your enemies.
That's it,
for
man.
you, and
I know.
when
I know. I
you
see you
come out
boys.
with
I see you guys.
And if you're only criticizing the right, I'm sure you get a lot of pain from the right, but you've got the people on the left who are tribally identified with the left, who are
Cheers,
who are just
VK.
going to
Thanks for popping by.
reflexively defend you.
And good luck. You know,
If you're
I'm
in
here
the
for you.
center,
So if you need anything, just ask.
Criticizing the left as hard
I'm
as
rooting for
anyone
you.
on the right ever
I wanna see
criticizes
potential.
criticizes the left. And you're also criticizing the right as hard as anyone on the left criticizes the right. You're getting hate from both sides all the time, and no one is reflexively and tribally defending you, because you pissed them off last time Like, you might be getting hate from the left now, and the people on the right agree with you, but they can't forget the thing you said about Trump on that podcast, 2 podcasts ago. So they're not going to defend you. And so I basically created hell for myself on Twitter, because it was it was just a theater of, it was just pure cacophony most of the time. And what I was seeing was, like, there's no way there's this many psychopaths in the world, but I was seeing psychopaths everywhere. I was seeing like the most malicious dishonesty and
Hey, look at my chicken legs.
Moving and hypocrisy and it was just, some of it's trolling and some of it's real confusion and some of it is psychopathy, but it's like, it was so dark that I worried that it was actually giving me a very negative and sticky view of humanity that was, one, it was, I think it is inaccurate, but two, it was something I was returning to so much, because again, I was checking Twitter, at least a dozen times a day, and I'm sure there were some days where I checked it 100 times a day. It was my main source of information. I was constantly
Might not
reading
look like
articles
much,
and then putting my own stuff out.
but my anterior tibialis is probably
It became this kind of funhouse
least
mirror in which I was looking
developed
at the
part of
most
my
grotesque
legs.
side of
But you gotta do it.
humanity.
You gotta
And
start somewhere.
becoming,
Everyone was a beginner. Everyone
implicated
starts
in
as a beginner.
ways that were important because it was reputationally important, or seemed to be important. I know a lot of these people. These weren't just faceless trolls. These are people
Cheers.
with whom I have had relationships.
No,
and
thanks,
some
Brad.
friendships, who, because of what
It is something, like, if it turns
Trump
into
and
something
COVID
sweet, but if
did
not,
to our political landscape in the
everything
last
I've been doing online has essentially
10
kept me
years,
accountable. That's,
we're beginning to act.
and
in
as you just
ways
said it,
that
it's allowed me to see my progress
seemed, starkly
through all of last
dishonest
year. I've
and
never done it before, that's why. I've
crazy
never
to me.
taken
So,
any progress
I
all
was
up
just noticing
until
that I
now.
was forming a
So I
view
thought,
of
this
people
doesn't
who
take too much
actually
time out of my
do.
day, so
It was
I just
way
gotta start
more
the stream, and
negative
I do what I was
based on
gonna do
their
anyway,
Twitter behavior
work out and train.
than I think
But
would ever be justified.
It made
by
it
the
made
way
sure
they
it
behaved
made
in
sure I
life
stayed on track.
with me. I was never going to have a face-to-face encounter with any of these people that was this malicious and dishonest and gaslighting and weird, right? As was what was happening hourly on Twitter.
It's my first year out from final
So,
uni as well, so
I just began to become
I had a
more
lot of time to
sensitive
use for
to
myself.
what this was, just the residue of all of this in my life, and just how often the worst thing about me in my relationship with the people in my life, like just talking to my wife or my kids,
Man, I'm not even
was
listening to
just
this guy anymore.
the fact that I had been on Twitter at some point previously.
Let's go back to here.
This may seem like a divergence, but I and many other people are very curious about a recent
Cheers,
decision
Brad.
you made, which was
It
to
ain't much, but
close
that's the
your
point.
account.
Like, that's the point of my channel. I want to show people you don't need much to be
You
healthy.
still have an Instagram account.
Yeah, it's good to have a gym. I got nothing wrong with the gym.
My team.
Whatever keeps you motivated, that's all that matters.
Over at Instagram. I've been there a lot
I've never
longer.
even
I don't like it when people
seen
give me
it,
the
so-
excuse,
It's
oh,
pretty
gyms
good,
are
actually,
closed.
considering-
I
imagine
can't
what
work
happened
out
to
now.
Deep Page. They're doing a good job with it. But
As a physical
the decision to
therapist,
close your account on Twitter,
I have to take
I think
the
grabbed a
excuses
lot of
away
eyes and ears,
from my
and,
patients
there's a lot of
that they
questions
might give
about
me of why they
it was a
can't
very
do
large
something.
account.
So I guess I'm living what I'm
Correlated
preaching.
with a number of things that for the outsider people might be wondering about, new leadership, new people who have been booted off, brought back on, or at least invited back on,
Right.
and so on. You are certainly not obligated to explain your behavior to me or anybody else, for that matter. But I'm curious if you might share with us what the motivation was for taking the account down, and how you feel in the absence
Yeah,
of your thumbs presumably are freed up to do other things.
Actually, I was getting like an arthritic right thumb,
Sure,
I think, and
yeah.
I think
But if you don't mind sharing, I think there's a lot of
well, I guess
curiosity about
this room's the epitome of
your routine.
efficiently cozy.
Sharing that.
I live in my mum's
knowledge,
granny flat with my
um,
missus, and there
but
honestly isn't much
also
space, so
like what makes
everything is
what makes
exactly
you tick,
where
what
it needs to be.
motivates, pretty big decisions like that. It was a major platform for you.
right. Yeah.
So-
It was the only social media platform I've ever engaged. Like you said, I have an Instagram, I have a Facebook account, I never used those as platforms, right? Never on them. I never followed people.
That's
I
it.
Never,
That's the way.
Posting is just
And look, it's not
just marketing. You know,
it's not that we're trying to make people feel bad or anything. It's just
But Twitter was me.
we get it.
You know,
We
for better or worse.
we do it that way because we
And,
understand how hard it
began to
is.
feel more and more
People have
worse.
lives. People's got
And
jobs.
It was.
People has hobbies.
It was interesting because
interests.
it was very.
It's hard to find that
You know,
time.
I've talked about.
So
it
we
a lot
understand
on the
that.
podcast,
So that's why we try to make it
my
as
love-hate
easy as
relationship
we
with Twitter
can.
over the years. Many
You know,
good things came to me.
all of us,
from
we can
Twitter,
all
and I
give
was
someone the
following a
optimal
lot of
training
smart people,
plan,
and it had become
week by
my
week.
newsfeed
But again,
and my first
honestly,
point of contact.
who's got the time?
with
Sometimes
information.
we'll get that
I was
patient
really
who's
attached
really
to it
motivated,
just for that
who
reason,
has
just
the
as a
time and
consumer
money or whatever
of content.
to get it all done. But that's not
Um,
realistic.
And then it was also
That's not
a place
everyone.
where I genuinely wanted to communicate with people and react to things, and you know I would see some article that I thought was great, and I would signal boost it, you know, to my the people following me on Twitter, and that was rewarding. And I literally helped people on Twitter. Like, I mean, there were
My best
there were
advice
people
when it
who
comes to trying to find
I've
time
raised
is
lots of
do
money
it during
on
something
Twitter just
that
by,
you're able to
you know,
do it
signal boosting their
that doesn't
GoFundMes
take
and-
away anything from your
so I was
day.
engaged
So
in a way that
my
seemed
example there
productive.
is I've only started
Um,
stretching maybe for the last 2.5
But I
months.
was always worried.
And the
that
only
it
reason
was
why I've been able to do it
producing
is because when I get home
conflict
from work
for
and
me,
whatnot or whatever,
and was
there'll be
giving me
always a
signal
period in the
my
day
life
where
that I
I
was being lured into responding to.
I'm just on
and
YouTube.
taken
YouTube's my new
seriously.
TV. I
It
just
was
watch
out of
YouTube.
proportion to its,
So rather than me
its
just sitting in my chair and watching it,
representation of
I
any
stand up, do
opinions
my
or
stretches, and
opinions
watch my
that I
YouTube
should
at the
be
same
taking
time.
seriously.
So I'm not losing
So I was
anything what I'm
noticing
out.
that,
I'm not losing out on
and
anything
this
that I was
evolved
already
over
doing.
years, and this
I'm
long
just being more
before-
efficient,
long-
doing something
long-
on top that was already
long
there.
predated recent changes to
But if
Twitter.
not, then yeah, just
Um,
gotta find that time. The
But I
worst
was
advice I
noticing
could give
that
people
many of the
is
worst things
do it
that
before you go to
happened
sleep.
For me,
you
professionally,
technically always
were
have time
first
before
born
you
on
sleep
Twitter.
because it's just
Like,
before
some-
you're about to
some
go to
conflict
sleep.
I got into with somebody.
That's how I first
or
started.
something that I felt like I needed
Eventually I
to
moved to
podcast
more
about
in the morning or
response to
daytime
on
training, which
Twitter.
fits my work life a lot. Well, fits better in the end.
So much of it was
Wherever
either
you can find time in the end.
Genesis was Twitter, or
Everyone's
it's
got leads
the-
different lives.
the,
That's what makes us all unique.
the further
Sure.
spin of it that became truly unpleasant and dysfunctional happened on Twitter. Like, it was just Twitter was part of the story when it got really bad, and I've had, you know, vacations that have gone sideways just because I got on Twitter and said something, and then I had to produce a controversy that I had to respond to, and then I had to do a podcast about that, and blah, and it was just, okay, this is a mess, right? And so at that point, you know, I you know, have friends who, you know, also had big Twitter platforms who would say, you know, why are you responding to anything on Twitter? Just tweet and ghost, you know, just do the head, like Joe Rogan sat me down and tried to get you know, give me a talking to, as did Bill Maher, and both of them engaged Twitter in that way. I mean, I think they basically never look at their @ mentions. They never see what's coming back at them. They just, you know, they use it effectively the way I use or don't even use Instagram or Facebook. I mean, I don't even see what's going out there in my name. And so I could essentially do that for myself on Twitter, presumably. And I did that for some periods of time, but then I would continually decide, okay, now it's all balanced again, maybe I can
Now
just
listen to
communicate here, because it was
YouTube
very
That's
tempting
That's
for
it.
me to communicate with people, because I would see
I've got some sort of
somebody
flu right- Oh man, the flu
clearly
sucks.
misunderstanding something I had said
Yeah,
on my
well,
podcast.
you do what you
And I
can,
think,
man.
like,
I stopped
why not
training for a
clarify
good
this
week and a half
misunderstanding, right?
when I got the flu.
and my
You might have
efforts
saw my
to do
post
that
last year, middle of
almost
December.
invariably produced
One my last week of
um,
work as well.
I mean, sometimes it was a kind
That's
of
it. It's all about mobility.
meandering,
It's all about movement. Movement's
process
key.
of discovery,
Movement's
but
life.
often
Movement's
it's just
what's
kind of a
lubricate
stark
your joints.
confrontation with what appeared to me to be just lunacy and malevolence on a scale that I never.
Right, you guys are gonna get to hear my
elsewhere
shoddy
in life. Like,
Vietnamese.
I never meet these people.
Hello, Ma. Con đang exercise bây giờ mà. Con đang exercise bây giờ. Yeah. Con còn lâu, yeah, xin lỗi. Yeah. Anyone understands that? I just stood up my mum. She wanted to take me out for lunch, but I told her I've got a bit to go. Let me ask her about dinner. Issues. Hello, Ma. Tự mấy cái không gì đâu, tự nó nhỏ nhỏ xíu. Tự nó có máu, đó không gì đâu. Không gì đâu, không phải bự vậy. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay, tụi con xài cái rượu mình để lên bên đây được rồi. Yeah. Bless my mother, always overly concerned, as a mother usually is. I helped her out with like a lot of the banana trees out back and thorn bushes back there. She's like, how bad was the bleeding? I'm like, it's nothing, Mum, it's all good. Oh yeah, like I said, Brad, COVID's near and far, so I'll say I was at least lucky that it didn't hit me too bad. But the flu, there is no near and far. Once you get the flu, that's it. Knocks you off your feet. I had body aches. 4 days of where I just stayed in bed, did nothing, couldn't move. Mrs. was just feeding me congee / porridge for those 4 days. So yes, it was a great cut session. Yes, I came out of it. Helen was like, oh man, at least you're looking shredded. Yeah, but it's not how I want to look shredded. Anyone can dehydrate and lose weight like that and show abs and whatnot. I actually want to gain the muscle. I actually want to gain that weight. And you know, for me, I'm on that other end of the spectrum where it's hard for me to gain weight. So when I lose, it's tough for me to bring it back. But luckily, I filled in pretty well once I got better. Knees die. My usual aches, my knees aren't as bad. Yeah, that's it. Your knees have been taking a lot of poundage all the way up until now, so every bit of weight you lose, if anything, it takes a lot of that stress off it. Yeah, man. Yeah, it sucked. I talked to other people. Yeah, you know what? Same as someone else, one of my other mates. Exact same scenario as me. Exactly what I described to you, except he's bigger, so he lost about 9 kilos within those 4 days. I was like, far out. Definitely does take you out. But you know, silver lining, I didn't have to eat chicken and broccoli to lose that weight and get cut. Look at this. My boss was watching this, he'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, Daniel? He doesn't understand. He's old school, but he's good. Yeah, man. I've been trying to get into a DEXA scan to measure my fat percentage because I wanted to know. Because what better time after you lose all that weight? But I just found out that you have to get a referral to get these DEXA scans for a fat percentage one. So what's with that? Got to see my doctor sometime, do a blood test, test my testosterone and whatnot, do all that little stuff. Might as well since I'm there. Yeah, it's a good time though. Good time to weigh in.
In life, right? And yet, I was meeting these people by the tens of thousands on Twitter, and so
right, now somehow
the
lost
thing
what set them up
began to
that's
worry
what the
me about
elastic
it.
bands are for.
And again, I understand that people have the opposite experience. I mean, depending on what you're putting out and what you're, the kinds of topics you're touching, you could have just nothing but love coming back at you on Twitter, right? But because I'm essentially in the center politically, and because this is now on my podcast, this is not in the Waking Up app, I'm often criticizing the far left and criticizing the far right. I'm basically pissing off everyone some of the time, right? And it's very different. If you're only criticizing the left, no doubt you get hate from the left, but you have all the people on the right who just reflexively and tribally are expressing their solidarity for you, right? And who are dunking on your enemies for you, and when your enemies come out of the woodwork. And if you're only criticizing the right, I'm sure you get a lot of pain from the right, but you've got the people on the left who are tribally identified with the left, who are just going to reflexively defend you. If you're in the center, criticizing the left as hard as anyone on the right ever criticizes the left. And you're also criticizing the right as hard as anyone on the left criticizes the right. You're getting hate from both sides all the time, and no one is reflexively and tribally defending you because you pissed them off last time. Like, you might be getting hate from the left now, and the people on the right agree with you, but they can't forget the thing you said about Trump on that podcast, 2 podcasts ago. So they're not going to defend you. And so I basically created hell for myself on Twitter because it was it was just a theater of, it was just pure cacophony most of the time. And what I was seeing was, there's no way there's this many psychopaths in the world, but I was seeing psychopaths everywhere. I was seeing the most malicious dishonesty and, just goalpost moving and hypocrisy and it was just, some of it's trolling and some of it's real confusion.
Because I can't remember if I did that set or not, I have to add another set on top.
Dark.
That's my punishment / reward whenever I can't remember what a set I'm up to.
I worried that it was actually giving me a very negative and sticky view of humanity that was, one, it was, I think it is inaccurate. But two, it was something I was returning to so much because, again, I was checking Twitter, at least a dozen times a day, and I'm sure there were some days where I checked it 100 times a day. It was my main source of information. I was constantly reading articles and then putting my own stuff out. That it became this kind of funhouse mirror in which I was looking at the most grotesque side of humanity and feeling, implicated in ways that were important because it was reputationally important or seemed to be important. I know a lot of these people. These weren't just faceless trolls. These are people with whom I have had relationships and in some cases friendships. Because of what largely Trump and COVID did to our political landscape in the last half a dozen years, we're beginning to act in ways that seemed starkly dishonest and crazy making to me. So I was just noticing that I was forming a view of people who I actually had dinner with.
Stretches, I'll do that later today.
Way more negative
finish my work there and have lunch with my
their
mum.
Twitter behavior.
So any particular
than
podcast I listen to, or just whatever you're feeling?
Any way they would.
Yeah. So if it's for entertainment, I listen to Joe Rogan, which with any experts that I'm particularly interested in. I tend to be more into towards the fitness, health, anything that has to do with health. I'll be listening to that. This guy right here, Andrew Huberman. Well, not this guy that's on there right now, but you'll see him later. He's a neuroscientist, biology as well. A lot of the stuff he talks about he trains, he works out, he's into health, but he looks more into the micro side of things, what's all the chemicals and everything that's happening within our bodies. And yeah, it's good to help me, stay on top of my learning and education. Fitness wise as well, so those are the podcasts. There's other little entertaining things. I don't know, Bill Burr, I like him as a comedian. There's another one called Distractable, don't worry about too much, that's a guilty pleasure, I think. What else? Yeah, I love him. Yeah, I saw that one, that was awesome. More plates, more days, Brian Shaw. Like I said, I like it. They keep it interesting and entertaining at the same time, and it's good because I always listen to this when I'm driving, showering, working out. Some people say it's cheating, but I'm like, whatever. If it gets you to work out, that's all that matters in the end. And if not, there's a bunch of YouTube people that I follow as well. All those fitness influencers and whatnot. I'm lucky that I'm at a stage in my life that I've got the education that I can pick out what I like and what I don't need. But that's the fitness journey for everyone. You see what works for you. Not one plan works for everyone. Yeah, besides them, you have anyone? Oh yeah, well, you were sort of already said it, Brian Shaw and whatnot, and Derek, more plates, more dates. They're pretty good to follow. I like them because, rather than me having to do all the research, they do it for me.
Behave in life with me. You know, I mean, I was never going to have a face-to-face encounter with any of these people that was this malicious and dishonest and gaslighting and weird, right? As what was happening hourly on Twitter, right? And so I just began to become more sensitive to what this was, you know, just the residue of all of this in my life, and just how often the worst thing about me in my relationship with the people in my life, you know, like just talking to my wife or my kids, was just the fact that I had been on Twitter at some point previously in the previous hour, and there was some residue of that, you know, in my interaction with them. You know, like what are you stressed out about? What are you annoyed about? What are you pissed off about? You know, what can't you get out of your
I should
head?
watch. I see a lot of his
What is the thing that you now
Facebook
feel like
clips
you need to spend
where
the
he's just
next
commenting
week
on
of your
videos. I
life
love him. The guy's
focused on
hilarious.
because it went so sideways.
Oh, Cheddar, I need that.
All of that was Twitter.
But I like all these strong men coming up with their own
100%
content and
of it
whatnot.
was Twitter. And so
The guy's a very
at
funny
one
bloke.
point, it was actually on Thanksgiving Day. I just looked at this and I mean, there was very little thought went into it. I mean, literally, you know, there was more thought involved in you know, whether I wanted coffee.
But I'll have to check it out.
when
Thank you
asked
for the
me when I
suggestion,
showed
by the
up
way.
here. I mean, it was just like at a certain point, I just saw it and I just ripped the Band-Aid off.
We live in
And,
such a
yeah,
wonderful
so,
age where
and to answer
the
your
research
question,
is
it's
there.
been almost
knowledge is
totally
all there.
positive, as you might expect.
We just
given,
have to sift through all the
litany of-
nonsense.
of, pain
and
and
there's
discomfort
so
I just
much
ran through.
nonsense
But,
out there.
I mean, it's also it's surprising to recognize how much of a presence it was in my life, given the sense of what is now missing. I mean, it's like there's no question there's a kind of an addictive component to it. And when you see, I mean, like when I look at what Elon's doing on Twitter, forget about his ownership of it. And I'm not, you know, I have got a lot to say about the choices he's making for the platform, but just his personal use of it is just so obviously an expression of, I mean, I don't know if addiction is the, you know, clinically appropriate term, but, you know, his dysfunctional attachment to using the platform. Forget about changing it and owning it, but just the degree to which it is pointlessly disrupting the life of one of the most productive people in any generation.
By the way, your last photo on Facebook was reminiscent of
also
Eddie
fun.
Hall. By the way,
Because I know Elon, and I just, you know,
you got his hairstyle down on point.
from my, you know, kind of a friend's eye view of the situation, it's so obviously not good for him that he's spending this much time on Twitter. I just brought that back to me. It's like, well, if it's not, if
That's
this is
good.
what it's
That's
doing
awesome.
to Elon, and he's got all these other things he could be doing. with his
Stallman and
attention.
Brothers. All right, I'll have to check him
How
out
much
later.
of my use of Twitter is actually,
that's a beautiful thing as well,
a good
like,
idea and,
with,
you know,
you know,
optimized to my well-being
in
and
that-
the well-being of the people around me.
I'm lucky in the sense that I have no
so anyway,
underlying
it was-
conditions.
There was an addictive component to
I've
it.
been
I think,
allowed.
and so when that got stripped off,
It would have been your last one, or
you know,
someone
I
would have
do
commented it. It was
notice
just on
that there's-
Facebook maybe
there's
last week or
sometimes
something
I
like
pick
that.
up my
That's
phone
essentially you with your arms
I
out, with them for a
realize
chat
it's
and
like the old
everything.
me
You got your
picking up
hair
my phone
slick and
for
all
a-
that.
for a
Like, it's
reason
perfect.
that no longer exists. 'Cause
Like,
there's
I was-
nothing
instantly I
I've
thought to
got
myself,
my
is
Slack
he
channel
trying to
with my team, and I've got
recreate
email,
Eddie Hall's look?
obviously,
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's like that is
Yeah,
not
like
much of what I was doing with my
the whole
phone,
Tom having
really, in
autism
the
and
end.
that, it's just
And
like,
so,
yeah.
it's-
Like, we've been
my phone is
allowed
much
to
less
have
impressive
bodies that
than
are
my
able
phone.
to do
So
all this,
it's
to
almost
improve
totally good,
ourselves,
but,
to be the best that we can be. But
yeah,
there are other
it's,
people out
you know,
there
there's-
that just
I
aren't
think
as
there is some
fortunate.
danger
But yet
in,
you have people like Tom here, where it's just like,
or some-
it's not an
some
excuse for him.
possible
He's been able to
danger
find
in
his way
losing
around
touch
his
with
own,
certain
like for his own
aspects of
path in his
culture,
journey.
Which again, I'm not even
You know?
sure. I mean, there's this question of, you know, how
Like,
much is Twitter real life?
Right,
and
to
how
get a
much
bit
is
morbid, I
it
guess.
a mass delusion.
I
I don't know.
I
But
think
insofar as it actually matters,
I think it
whether
might have been on
it's
Twitter, but it came up on Facebook. I don't use Twitter, that's why. Essentially, like, I believe a lot of people would be. It'll be good for a lot of people to visit hospitals, visit those emergency or intensive care unit wards and whatnot, because too many people. Oh man, I'm getting too preachy now. But essentially, long story short, too many people take for granted what they have. They think they've got problems, but once you go to the hospital and you see people that have actual problems, you look at yourself and you're just like, you know, people just need a bit more perspective. That's all. So that's why, like, that's one of the reasons why, you know, I don't know, push yourself to be all you can be for the sake that you have that chance to do it. That's it. you have a choice to be able to, you know, do all this stuff. While there are other people out there that will just happily be glad to be able to stop with us. I know, like, there's always, it's a whole, like, there's always someone out there doing worse than you or others and whatnot, but, you know, some people need that reality check. So when I see people like that, when I see you telling me about Luke and Tom and that, and how they're able to, like, get past with what they've been given in life and what they've been dealt with, it's inspirational, you know. It tells a lot of people, like, what's your excuse sort of thing. Yeah. Anyway, sorry to go on a tangent on that one.
Or insofar as I was actually getting a news diet, which I'm not going to be able to recapitulate for myself, or I'm just not, in fact, going to recapitulate for myself, even if I could. If any of that matters, I haven't discovered that yet, but it's, yeah, I mean, it was taking up an immense amount of bandwidth, and it's impressive. I mean, like I said, you know, it was like I amputated a phantom limb, right? Like, it was not a real limb, but it was this continuous presence in my life that it's weird. It actually relates to the concept of self in surprising ways, because I felt there was a part of myself that existed on Twitter, and I just performed a suicide of that self. Right? Like,
I see stuff right like that, and I wonder to myself, am I pushing myself hard enough?
Go back and check. There's just,
you know?
It's gone. I didn't go back and look at my, like,
different lives. I'm not competing. They are.
You know, I've been on Twitter for 12 years. I don't keep a journal.
Those are beautiful stories.
Twitter, in my timeline, would have been a kind of journal. I could have gone back to a specific hour and a
Like,
specific.
he's the one that's, like, affecting the world. You know,
an interesting record of just who I've been for a decade, and probably a pretty humbling record of who I've been for a decade, in terms of the kinds of things that captivated my attention. But I didn't even think to go nostalgically just look at any of that, or see if any of it was worth saving or archiving, or thinking, like, just delete, you know. And it was and so my actual sense of who I am and my engagement with my audience, my, you know, the world of people who could potentially know me, like, what does it mean to have a platform, you know, where do I exist digitally? My sense of all of that got truncated.
and the strong world, like,
in a way
competition is
that,
just something else. Like, athletes,
it's much
all of
less
them, like,
noisy. I mean, it's amazing
pushing
how
our
much
bodies to its absolute limit.
can't get fucked up now in my life. Like, it's like with Twitter, almost anything could happen, right? Like the next tweet.
And that's
was
what I love
always
seeing.
an
I love seeing
opportunity
human potential.
to massively.
I say it a
complicate my
lot,
life.
but
there is no analogous.
one reason why I
space
like being a
for me
chiropractor
now.
is, like, I get
And,
to
you know,
assist
so
people
what I'm going to say on your podcast,
on getting
what
to
I'm
that
gonna say on my
potential.
own podcast, what I'm going to write next. That's much more, you know, deliberative, and the opportunities to take my foot out of my mouth.
One more
to
set,
reconsider
that'll be it for
also,
today.
you know, whether any of this
I was
is
gonna do
worth it,
stretches, but
is this the hill I really
mum
want to die on
calls.
now?
Mum doesn't get much
it's
time
much
off, so
more,
yeah.
Can be much more considered,
eat after this.
and I mean, I think all of that's to the good. But even more important than that is that there's not.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
not getting this
That's all it
continuous
is.
signal that is always inviting
So,
a response, whether on Twitter
My second
or on
motivator for
podcast
training
or
is,
anything.
food. I love eating. And I was lucky that I had my head set on straight when I was younger, where if I'm going to keep eating, I better balance it out on the other end. So that's why I was training, because I just love eating. I want to be able to, and, you know, I'm at a point in my life where I can eat whatever I want, as dirty as I want, and my body will be just like, oh, fuel. Oh, thanks. Just fuel. Thank you. And exactly right, like, you guys push it tough, and, like, so many of those competitions, bodybuilders, all of them, right after it's over and everything, it's just like, oh man, you guys go to town on food, and rightly so, well deserved, you know. People sacrifice that time and their bodies and their mental stability just for this one event. And yeah, you guys know how to eat, I'll say that.
Where else?
And you know, like, that's what it is in the end. You know, I'm
and
too sure. Like, most people that get into fitness,
it's
eventually
just
you
much
find
less
out
noisy.
exercise is
Life
the easy
much
part.
less noisy.
Eating is
and
so hard.
cluttered.
And that's my
that
problem.
is-
Like I
that
can't
definitely
eat
feels better.
enough.
It's
I think I'm
100% better.
always under, so that's why I have such a
Happy to
high
hear that.
protein diet, just
I
to
know
make
a
sure I at
number of
least
people
don't
miss
lose
you
muscle.
there, but
Man,
you sound happy.
the
I
amount of
sense
shakes that
genuine
I've had,
happiness in it. Several things come
peanut
to mind.
butter,
First of all, thank you for sharing
oats,
your rationale there.
just to fill in
and how
those
it went, I
calories,
think,
you
quite
know,
accurately.
all
I
those
must have,
calories.
walked around in circles for hours talking about everything.
No,
There
it was.
It's
you
not
know,
that I have to
as
even
many
eat
good
much. It's just
decisions
I'm on that
are
spectrum where it's just
executed,
like
right,
I have a
yeah.
low appetite. I don't
you know,
need
I'm
much
a big
to
fan of
eat.
Cal
And,
Newport's work.
you know, if I want, I
In
can
many
ignore
ways,
myself
Cal,
so easily. But you know,
never
that's
met
not
him,
that's
but,
not the goal.
We know each other through the internet space. He,
Oh come on, sleeping.
really ahead of his time
For me,
with
like
his
sleep is the
deep work
sleep
and,
is magic. You know, that's where all the magic
distractions.
happens.
I think he's even
That's
got a
where
book
all the
about
gains
a world
happen,
without
you know?
email or something.
Yeah.
Like, really
Well,
extreme.
So he had. I mean, he deserves some credit because he.
I get you
had
though.
been
I get you though.
Somewhat approximate cause to this. He had been on my podcast and he had encouraged me to delete Twitter because I had been sort of in reaching some kind of crisis point with it prior to that podcast, and so we talked about it. And I had recorded that podcast but hadn't released it. I actually recorded the podcast the day before I wound up deleting Twitter, but hadn't yet released it. So in my podcast with him, in the intro to it, I then give a post-mortem on my deleting it. But he was one of the last people who was in my head around these issues, and I actually, that was not by accident. I had invited him on the podcast because I increasingly wanted to think about whether this was totally dysfunctional.
Well, I'm a big fan of Cal Newport's, and I am on social media. I'm on Twitter. I've had some, high friction interactions there, and I have a process for dealing with those. I tend to avoid high friction confrontations online, but Instagram's a much friendlier place. By the way, if you wanted to come over to where like the nice kids, the cool kids actually hang out.
Strangely, I'm not looking for a substitute.
Good. Okay. Well, that's I don't let me entice you over there. You do. But I think that this notion of really being able to access what Cal calls deep work, what Rick Rubin talks about, being able to touch the source of creativity and focus and on a regular basis does require that one have certain types of, and in some cases, zero interaction with certain platforms. That merely being on a platform and blocking people that just won't provide. I think a lot of energy opens up, and I'm fascinated by this concept of energy. I mean, we only have so much energy, neural energy to devote. And in many ways, what you describe, there's really, I think, striking parallels to what I'm talking about all along these last hours, which is that sometimes the thing that feels so powerful, that has such a gravitational pull, and that we think this is experience, this is life, this is just the way it is, actually is an illusion. And when you step away from it, you realize that there's
My
this whole
car's
other
gonna be feeling
dimension
that for the
of
week.
interactions that was
My
available
car's
all
the worst.
along, that
I won't be
we
getting
for
on and off
whatever
chairs
reason,
or bathroom
we're
seats for a
intervening in the
while.
way of our
Probably.
reflexive, distracted behavior. So I
Yeah.
think there's a poetry there.
I was a
Yeah.
hard case, but I got religion on this point, and it's a good shame.
Well, Sam, I want to say a couple of things. First of all,
All right, that's 6-7 sets.
every
Push-ups,
time
squats
you
with
talk-
elastic resistance bands, Russian
so
twists,
much,
weighted,
and that's
calf and
you know,
tibialis
the
anterior.
dimensions of neuroscience, even hardcore neural
Resos.
circuitry type stuff, which I'm, sort of
Again, was
into.
gonna stretch, but family calls.
When you
I'll do the stretches
talk
after
about
lunch. I'll bit
philosophy
after
or
once I get back. Maybe I'll stream it. Maybe I won't. I'll see.
psychedelics,
Plenty of stretch videos out there. You don't need me to show you that.
politics, and a topic that I'm
I just want to show you that if you just keep consistent,
woefully undereducated in.
results.
But
then you don't need
but
much
this
room
amazing
either.
ability to blend
Not
and,
like I
and
care.
synergize across things.
your
And I think
journey.
today what occurs to me is that not
In
only
the
is
end,
that
it's
no
you that has
accident
to want
because
it.
of your training and the rigor and the depth at which you explore these different topics, but also your openness to it. But I think, at least for me, above all, is because I think you are able to encapsulate this idea of the self and
Brad, thanks for being here. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for keeping me company. I'll be here as many days of the 3 days that I'm here a week as I can be. If you ever need advice or anything, or if you just want someone to chat to, I'm a pretty boring stream. That's why I put stuff in the background, just to cover up, the gaps or the shortcomings of what I'm doing. But not like I care. Like I said, I use this just to keep myself accountable and working out. But anyway, till next time. Gonna head off. Next time will probably be Wednesday morning. I still got this week off work as well, so yeah, lucky me. Cheers, Brad. You know, it's nothing special. It's one of those things where, like, to be honest with you, like, if it turns into something sweet, but if it doesn't, I really don't care. Like I said, what I stream is what I do every day anyway. That's why people like seeing me half naked in the showers, my cold shower updates and everything and all that. But, you know, if you know me, that's normal. If you don't, whatever, now you know me. But yeah, alright, till next time, take care of yourselves. Thanks for the follows, thanks for the 20 burpees to Sleepy, very tactically timed, but yeah, till next time, thank you.